Hey everybody, Michelle is here on this Wednesday, rainy day on the East Coast. Hope everybody's doing fantastic, fabulous, and magnificent. I am. Just sitting down, relaxing, listening to the rain outside before I start doing some more cleaning. And I just want to say to people out there, the teachers, messengers, those that really genuinely care about people, we're going to have to be really, really patient with the young people. All right. Especially anyone that's, say, 30 years and under. We're going to have to be somewhat patient with them because, a lot of us adults over 30, we were complacent. All right. We were procrastinating. We were making excuses. We were intentionally overwhelmed, yes. We were intentionally brainwashed, indoctrinated, manipulated, and the list goes on and on and on. And we failed, okay? We failed. Now, failure does not mean the end. Failure means you failed, okay? And sometimes you need failures in order to know what it means to be successful. Well, we failed, especially in the area of the climate and the environment. We failed. Now, what can we do about it? Well, not much, but we can do everything in our power to survive, do everything in our power to stay awake, and do everything in our power to not just fall for the same old, same old. It's an election season, and I can guarantee if no one is paying attention, it's going to be business as usual, okay? You're going to have these politicians come forward and start talking about revisited crime that has been existing for decades on top of decades on top of decades. All of a sudden now it's highlighted. You're going to see it. It's the same stuff every election season. They're going to be making the same promises. They're going to be rambling about the environment, rambling about the economy, rambling about this and rambling about that. Okay, they're going to be shuffling papers around, claiming they're signing bills for this and signing bills for that. Okay, they're going to be lying and smoke and mirrors. Okay, that's all it is. Most of these politicians are actors and actresses. Okay, and they ought to go on strike instead of the writers and the creators in Hollywood or wherever they are, or in the California West Coast region. Okay, send these politicians on strike somewhere. Get them out of the way, because it's ridiculous and it's comical actually for those of us like myself that sit back and watch and observe it. So we can't be upset with the young people because we as adults set the path for them. We made it seem to be more important to do this over doing that, to have and it was all materialistically done. We made it seem as though it was best to be materialistic than to be righteous, to be materialistic rather than involving our elevating our consciousness and developing virtues and values and ethics. You know what I mean? You have to laugh at yourself. You have to have some comedy in your life. Because until you bring it down some where you're controlling your emotions and feelings, you're not going to see the big picture as to what's going on. It's comical. Okay, the same routines. You'll have politicians coming in. They'll be visiting churches. They'll be visiting the police department, especially taking pictures with officers and lying and carrying on. The police department is being used just like the police department participates in nefarious stuff. So it goes both ways. Trust me. Everybody reaps what they've sown. It's cause and effect. It's a boomerang. So just as you terrorizing the black culture, well, certain levels and certain elements of law enforcement gets terrorized too. They get used. So it's an election season. And thankfully, I don't have a streaming service. And thankfully, I do not have any type of cable and that kind of stuff right now, because all it would be filled with is campaigns. Everybody's endorsing this and endorsing that, dividing people constantly. You know, the Democrats are the best. Oh no, the Republicans are the best. Oh no, the independents. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. And I think that's terrorism in itself. We definitely have domestic terrorism. I think we have election terrorism as well. Where, you know, when elderly people are called, you know, 3 and 4 times a day. My parents were called all day long and they couldn't get rid of the calls. And most of it was robocalls where they couldn't interact or tell them to stop calling and leave them alone. You know, we are our worst enemies sometimes. We cause more harm to ourselves than almost any other war elsewhere as well. We are our own civil war constantly, especially around election season. We fill up the airways with talking head intellectuals, rambling about this and rambling about that. All they're doing is just keeping the divide going. And they do it for advertising. Let's be honest. My goodness, if they would, you know, I think if you would be honest and say, look, I can only say certain things because the advertisers are requesting we do this. The advertisers are requesting that we do that. The advertisers said, no, they're not going to support that kind of content unless you blah, 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 blah. Admit it. Admit who controls you. And I'm talking to the media. Admit who controls you. It's advertisers. I know that for YouTube. You know, YouTube recently put out that certain advertisers are not going to support certain type of content. Okay, I think that's fair, isn't it? Well, why don't the media say that's what's happening too? The media is not going to say certain things because the advertisers will not support it. Just say it. The same thing with these social media platforms. It's all about advertising and advertising money. And if somebody says something out of line, oh, the advertisers go crazy. Right? Now this particular company having problems selling shoes and athletic wear. Okay, we know what we know what's going on. Okay, it's all about the money. It's all about the dollar. It's all about the pyramid. Keep the rich on the top richer and forget about the workers at the bottom. Forget about them. They're the ones that generate the income to keep the pyramid going. And then you have these straight, feminine males, you know, whining and complaining about being scared and don't want to get their hands dirty and talking about all this strength they have. You know, and all this integrity they want to bestow and all this advice they want to give. And they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Can barely change a tire, I bet. Don't even mow their own lawns. But yet they're going to come up and give people advice about how to be a man. Give me a break. You go in and get your nails done more so than I've ever in my life. Or any other any other woman. You get your nails done more so than some women. Okay, so stop it. You know, the entertaining is, it's enough entertainment. Okay, the world is at stake here. You know, the climate is at stake here. The overpopulation with people, buildings, equipment, material things, drilling. Okay, not to mention, what's going on elsewhere with the war, deployment of nuclear weapons, this rambling with the politicians over this and over that. You know, they can't even make decisions on simple things. And again, this goes on every goddamn election season. And it's torture. And like I said, it's more like terrorism to me. You know, because we're being forced with information and forced with indoctrination. You know, that this person is a bad person. That's, you know, all this false teaching and false messengers. That's why I say, those of you that genuinely care about people and you want to spread love and peace and harmony, please tell your story. I've given you the platform. That's why I'm inviting everybody on my platform. Spread love to people. Let other people know that, you know, that there are people that care. I know they're talking about loneliness. You know, to me that sounds like you know, like certain people are benefiting off of claiming that there's loneliness so they can and bring in clients. Is that what's happening? You know, these psychologists and psychiatrists, are you looking for clients now? So now you're going to be, projecting that, you know, loneliness is an epidemic now. You see what happens? You gotta, and if you're thinking for yourself, you can see what's happening. You can feel it. You can hear it. It's election season, everybody. And now these are some defining moments right now to see if anything has changed from the last until now. We're probably going to have the same characters and actors lying and rambling about what they're going to do for America, what they're going to do for the world, and what they're going to do for the citizens. Innocent, law-abiding citizens are the ones that are terrorized. Okay, the government knows who owns these high-powered weapons. They know all of them. They have all of their names and addresses. But yet they want to focus on finding weed in black culture and harassing black citizens about driver's license and wanting to use their high-tech toys on black culture and black people and people of color. Okay, so don't be upset with the young people. Okay, because as adults, as we are, you know, we are 100% responsible for our destinies, our destruction, our chaos. Okay, and we were supposed to set the example for our children and descendants. And you wonder why they're acting out? Are you kidding me? And these politicians are going to have the wake up call of the century when their children get older and realize what is happening. So be patient with these young people. Okay, they're acting out for a reason. Okay, they feel suicidal, depressed, angry, violent for a reason. And again, there are more loving, law-abiding, righteous, beautiful human beings than there are these evil, self-righteous, degenerate, perverse, you know, so-called leaders, you know, or these so-called false messengers and false personas, you know, people lying about this and lying about that constantly, all day long. So tell your story, you know, share your love for people. Let that be the topic of conversation, you know, more so than what the politicians think and who cares? Okay, they can care less about the citizens, because as we know, once the election is over, okay, you won't see them again for another 48 years or whatever. Or 2 to 4, 2 to 4, 2 to 8, whatever years. You won't see them again. So It's about love, okay? It's about love, but it's also about responsibility, okay? It's about accountability. And anytime you are doing anything, these elements have to be there. It has to be logical, rational, reasonable. It has to make sense. It has to be understanding, reproducible. Okay? So let's do this. Okay? Let's do this. All right, so I'm gonna stop for now and just sit and listen to the rain, because it looks like it's about to pass through anyway. So I want to send peace and love to everyone all over the universe. And trust me, I'll be back.